We now go to two people getting onto an elevator.
All right, going up. There's another guy with me in the elevator, but yeah, it's okay. Just gently step over to the other corner and sort of tilt my body in a way which is neither away from him or towards him. And I'll just make a quick eye contact and avert my gaze so we acknowledged each other. Smooth sailing from here. Done my social obligations. Just have to ride up to my floor, and he's actually still looking right at me. Oh, that's kind of weird. He's just smiling at me. Just gonna take a quick peek to see if he's still looking right at me, and anytime I look at him, we're making eye contact. He's just smiling.
Hi there.
Is there a problem? You're just looking at
just
me?
riding up the elevator. It's a great day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty good day, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a good one.
I couldn't help but notice that you were just looking at me and smiling in the elevator instead of politely averting your gaze.
Nothing makes me feel good like a nice smile out in public, so I try to give that to other people.
I have to be honest, it kind of makes me feel weird, like you're staring at me or thinking about me, or like...
I mean, I am thinking about you. I'm thinking, what are the chances that you and me, of all people, would be in this elevator together? All the millions of people in this city? It's like a little miracle.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And then I'm wondering, who is this person? Why are they in this elevator? Are they here for the same reason I am? What did they have for breakfast today? What are their hopes and dreams? What's the worst thing they've ever done?
Yeah, I guess I was kind of getting that vibe. It's like kind of violating in a way. It's like it's too...
I was just wondering. I just assume you're wondering that about me too, right?
No. Sorry, could you politely avert your gaze so I could look at you without making eye contact for a minute?
Okay, that's a little weird, but I'll try my best.
If every time we got in elevators with each other, we just like smiled at each other and made eye contact, is that what you want from society?
Yeah, what a world it would be.
I could give a little smile, like a sort of pull my lips back kind of...
No, I mean a full, happy... You gotta be genuinely happy, though. You don't want like a tight, fake, creepy smile.
Well, creepy. I mean, that's rich coming from you.
This was not creepy. There was no...
No, this little smile, the little pullback smile, it's an appropriate amount of happiness. Like, I'm not happy to you, but I'd rather be in the elevator alone.
I'm happy. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're sharing this moment.
I'm showing with my little pullback that I'm busy, but I'm friendly. Like, if push comes to shove, I'm friendly.
Well, you do what works for you. The smile works for me. We just had a great conversation, as far as I'm concerned. It's going to put a smile on my face all day. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm kind of weirded out by it. I'm still weirded out by it.
I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you find a way to process and deal with that. And look, I can't control other people's feelings. I can just control whether or not I'm me. And I feel better when I'm being my authentic self.
Right, yeah. Okay, yeah, well, this is my floor. Nice to meet you. Have a good day.
Can I just say that your eyes are a beautiful color? It's a pleasure making eye contact with you.
Hello, everybody. Sweet, beautiful angel geniuses. Welcome back to the Seriously Wrong podcast, a podcast that only the truly wise appreciate.
Yeah, that's... I just got self-conscious about claiming that we're wise, or that we're more wise than other people, or that... No, there's wisdom everywhere. You know, there's plenty of wise podcasts. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Just to clarify, what I'm trying to claim here...
We're not hierarchical.
We're dipshits. Host-wise, dipshits.
Oh, okay.
But the audience who appreciates it is truly wise.
But do we really want to, like, make the people listening make their head so big?
That's true, yeah. We need to balance out the audience. We can't just gas them up. Otherwise, they might get carried away.
But we also don't want to just insult them.
Well, I think we all have limitations and even perhaps a dark side that we have to wrestle with in the dance of life, including our wise audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, if you're listening to this on the bus right now, or in an elevator, or walking down the street, you might have noticed that you are passing people and you're kind of looking at them very briefly. or looking in their general direction maybe, but not directly at them.
Mm-hmm. If there's a small amount of people in like a tight space, you might actually look at each other and have a brief moment of eye contact or even acknowledgement, like a nod.
Yeah, definitely.
Or like saying hi or
Yeah,
what's up or something like that, but kind of like under your breath in a way that's indicating it's more symbolic. Like, hey,
yeah, it's more of like a
I thought
grunt than a word.
on the way here around the corner, I passed this guy smoking on a bench. We looked at each other and then looked away, but then I had to walk right past him. So by the time I got right past him again, we made full eye contact again, and we both said, hey, but like not a full hey, like, hey, like under the breath almost. And we had a little smile too. And then there's a guy with a dog. We did the pinched, what they call it, the white person smile. The
yeah, like a non-frown, like a gym smile.
and then
almost.
his dog was standing in front of me as I was walking. His dog was unleashed and was standing in front of me. And I was moving at kind of a brisk pace, and I had to stop for the dog to get out of the way. It was no problem at all. He's like, oh, sorry. So our whole interaction was like this little like smile, and then he apologized to me that
I was just going to say that the guttural hey thing in Canada, I'm sure other places too, a lot of the time it is sorry, even though you like, I notice it passing people on the stairs in my building a lot is both of us say sorry, even though nothing happened. It's just like, oh, sorry for having to pass you on the stairs. Like it's kind of, you know, we both were hoping not to pass anyone, but sorry, we ran into each other. But no, it's more of like a sorry.
yeah, or like you brush by someone as you're walking through the bus kind of thing. Yeah, so if you're on the bus right now, if there's a small amount of people, you may have acknowledged each other. If there's a large amount of people, you generally try to avoid those fleeting moments of eye contact. But if you do, that would be usually the end of the interaction. Mm-hmm. But you can look at people when they're not looking at you, but just try not to get like where you guys have those overlapping moments.
On one.
Exactly, yeah. So you have to kind of move around. Yeah,
if you have multiple overlaps with one person, then you start avoiding looking at that person specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What that's all doing, what this is signaling to other people is that I acknowledge you and I respect like your humanity. And the little smirk might mean I'm not going to attack you. I'm friendly towards you in some way. But also I want to give you privacy. I want to acknowledge the limitations to our relationship.
Yeah. I've been thinking about on walks a lot recently is just like kind of in the eyes. I feel like if you just look at someone briefly, like, and I know no one can see this, I don't know how to describe it, but like kind of like wider eyes almost. It's like a friendly look. You kind of less wrinkle in the brow area, just kind of like a quick, I don't know how to
what I do is just stare at each person until they make eye contact with me, and then I give them a big, toothy, sincere smile while I think about the beautiful journey they've been on, and what are the cosmic chances that we would share this space. I mean, that guy, like, it's a happier existence in some ways if you could really feel that way. I mean, it is a good point about the magical, psychedelic nature of the universe. I always think, like, have I seen these people before? Like, if you did a sizzle reel of every time I walked by so-and-so, would it be an interesting story? You see bits of our lives. Some random person I don't know, I didn't store any data about. Maybe I did at the time notice what interesting shoes or...
Yeah, I go on like a similar walk fairly frequently. And then like, oh yeah, I probably pass a lot of the same people, but I don't notice it really. There's one guy I notice because he has a huge dog, like a huge dog. That's about it. But I'm like, there's got to be other people that I've, passed many times, but just don't register at all. But yeah, so this episode, we're talking about civil inattention. Inattention.
It's a term invented by a prominent Canadian sociologist. I just mentioned Canadian because of the ongoing tariff war.
Yeah, don't take this shit for granted, America.
It's like our Canadian patriotism
we're
moment.
Nationalists now. Canadian pride, you know, the guy who made up the term that people use for this and, fleshed out the idea or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't invent the practice, but wrote about it. What's his name?
Irving Goffman,
yeah. Yeah, so I guess the basic idea is that within cities, especially where you have a ton of people closely packed in, there's these sort of social rituals that develop of acknowledging but not acknowledging and not like, you're civilly saying, I noticed you, but I'm not like paying attention to you. We can be strangers around each other and we're both fine, and then we'll move on, and that's it. And it's kind of like a necessary social lubricant for when you're dealing with tons of fleeting interactions every day with people that you've never talked to before and likely will never talk to again.
On the Wikipedia article for civil inattention, there's this good phrase here, which is apparently taken from Interaction in Public Spaces 2022, which is recognizing strangers in urban places without treating them as an object of curiosity or intent. And I think the curiosity or intent thing is like curiosity is violating in the sense of like just the basic city privacy. It's like, I don't really want you to know what my route is. I don't know enough about you to like want to disclose.
Right.
The thought of you knowing or thinking about that stuff it feels hostile to me in a way. And then also intent is like, we're in public for our own means. We're not in public to like interact with each other. And that's what all these rituals.
Yeah, if this person has intent on me, it's like, whether it's good or bad, it means I have to deal with it. It's a factor that we assume isn't in play generally. And like, yeah, you're passing dozens of hundreds of people, sometimes even just going to the grocery store. It's like walking through a busy grocery store. It's like curiosity in that situation is like a weird, it's like, why would you be curious about me specifically? Or how are you somehow curious? You're so curious about all 100 people. Like you have a genuine, deeply felt curiosity individually about every one of our lives. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. So if you're curious about me, that does feel hostile, because it's like, why are you curious about me? Why do you have intent about me? What did I do? Yeah.
There was a time I affixed a microphone to my shirt that could pick up conversations that I was having. It was for a sketch we did on the show, which is where I asked McDonald's workers about democratizing their workplace behind the counter.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
But for like a little while after that, I went around in public with this microphone, just talking to random people to see if I could get any funny clips or like just kind of played with it. And I found like playing the role of being someone with a microphone, that I had this kind of like disguise and ruse,
right,
allowed me to like completely shed inhibitions on like approaching people with intent and curiosity. And the interactions were like entirely positive.
Yeah.
It's just kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure where this fits like squarely in this episode, but I just thought of it, and it is kind of like a profound experience in retrospect. And the reason I think that it struck me as profound too is I've been watching The Rehearsal, like the second season of the Nathan Fielder show.
Yeah.
And one of his premises that comes up in an episode is like giving people a character allows them to like break social norms and like be someone else. Which, yeah, I think is like a genuinely like profound insight about how like play acting and like game rules and stuff affect our psychology. The fact that I had a microphone and I was trying to get funny clips, I was trying to get people to say interesting things entirely from, I'll just clarify, not from a mocking place, but kind of like a loving the diversity of humanity kind of place was my angle on it. But yeah, approaching people with curiosity and intent in public definitely does. It can't be the general interaction anyways.
Yeah, just numerically it can't. But yeah, like what you're saying too is interesting, because I think like, I'm a big fan of civil inattention. I wouldn't like constantly having conversations with people all the time, but when people break those social norms too, sometimes if they involve me, but even like, it's even better if I just like can see it happening to other people. But there's something like that feels like liberating about things like that. Like seeing a person with a microphone approaching people and talking to them, it adds a sense of like liveliness to a public space that the civil inattention kind of saps. There's like, it's necessary in a lot of ways, but then like those times when things outside of that happens in a positive way, obviously, like, like a leering attention or someone like attacking someone, that's not what I'm talking about. But like people being loud in public spaces, loudly having conversations involving different people, like sort of like when you see people in public, like very directly breaking these kinds of norms, it can be like the most exciting, fun thing that happened to you that day. It's actually like another cool thing about the norms is that, yeah, when they're broken, there's like it's this really interesting feeling. I don't know.
These norms are also very pragmatic in that on a busy street in a packed city where you have 2,000 people living within a square block of each other, 4,000 people living within a square block of each other. You couldn't walk down the street and even have a brief, polite interaction with every person. Yeah, we have to sort of pretend other people don't exist and at the same time acknowledge them and show some token gesture of not an enemy, not unfriendly, or
yeah, the things reading about this too, it's that like people who move to cities a lot of the time when they first experience this find it really strange and kind of alienating, like expecting more of interaction with people out in a day-to-day world. I think that's like interesting too, because like I've thought about this when going on hikes, which is that the social norm on a hike, especially if you're like pretty far away from a city, if you're hiking like within Vancouver city limits somewhere, or like it can be similar to like a city street kind of thing. But if you're like somewhere that's like far out and you cross people on the path, the social norm is a lot more like a bit longer direct eye contact, probably a full throated hello or hi or nice day today, something on that level. You probably won't stop and have a conversation unless someone has a question or they're like, did you do this? Or, but like, there's something when you're on and you're like, oh, why can't you just say hello to people more? Like, this is kind of nice. I like this. It's still not like super, it doesn't take a lot of social energy to have a brief thing like that. But then, yeah, you think about actually doing that within a city, it would just like get tiresome. It would be less genuine after all. You're passing everyone like, hey, hi, how's it going? Like it
slippery
just
back there.
Yeah, like it's almost like a cartoon character, imagining someone who could walk down the street and just genuinely say that every single time and really feel it.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's a lot more thinking space hiking. My experience is you're very focused on the path. Maybe you're having a conversation, but you're not in the middle of things. Like hiking is the thing itself. Whereas if you pass people on the street, you're almost always in the middle of things. You have a destination, you have a sense of like what else is going to be in your day, or there's some errand you have to run. Where in hiking, you're just taking in the trees, making sure you keep your steps good and talking to the people that you're with. In my experiences hiking, people very frequently will say like a single sentence as they pass each other, maybe a back and forth, not more than 3 sentences between everyone.
Yeah.
Especially like warnings about terrain, or it's really nice over there, or
right. It gets steep over there. Watch out. Yeah.
It's worth it for the waterfall. That kind of.
Yeah.
It's excellent today, guys. It's excellent.
How much longer? I think just 10 more minutes. You're at the top. That kind of thing.
I'm sure sociologists have their own frameworks for all these different things, and we're just bursting in from the outside, speculating on our own. That feels like a different category. Like it's more information dense. Yeah,
I was trying to like contrast it with it. And like, cause I think people sometimes like you can have this sense of like, oh, everyone's a robot just walking through their day. We don't even pay attention to what's going on around us. We don't look at each other. We're in the Matrix.
All these sheep going around, flicking their eyes away from each other.
And then you go on a hike and you have these little interactions with people and you're like, oh, that's how it's supposed to be. Like, this is like people being normal, interacting with each other, saying hi. And yeah, I've had that experience or that thought, and then just being like it wouldn't actually work in a city very well. Maybe if it was like a full Utopia city, you'd probably still have some civil inattention, but people might be in less of a rush all the time. But I think just the amount of people, by necessity, you would still not always talk to people.
Yeah, I don't actually know which I prefer, in a utopian sense, between like knowing all my neighbors and keeping anonymity with like a decent chunk of my neighbors at least. Like usually I'll know like 1 or 2 neighbors out of like 50 or 100.
Right.
And that's a comfortable amount. I could go up to 4 or 5, like if they're cool people and stuff. It's not. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I had this idea that, like people should talk to their neighbors more floating around but then I had this experience. I had this roommate. He's a sweet guy. He's a nice guy. But like he was always between me and the exit and I was leaving the house. And he always had like something he wanted to talk about.
Right.
And I had to figure out this social calculus of like, because he was down to like have a long conversation too about like he's looking up iguanas now, or he's going to grow his own psilocybin, or something happened to him at work. It's not that I didn't like him or that there wasn't stories to have there. It's that I had my own world. I wanted to leave the house with some privacy and dignity.
Yeah.
Without having to negotiate.
Without being an object of curiosity or intent.
Yeah, exactly. Nice guy. There's nothing personal about it at all.
Yeah. In case he's listening, you don't hate him.
Yeah, I wonder if they could guess. Any case, it doesn't matter. They're nice. But the thing is, after a little while, I started really feeling like I have to strategize when I'm going to leave my room, to go out and like pick the right time and try to like have a sense of what's going on out there.
Yeah, if I was in danger of like full conversations with neighbors every time I left the building, it would definitely change the calculus. Or every time I left my apartment, I'd be like, I have the energy to take my garbage out, but do I have the energy to talk for 5 minutes right now? I don't know.
We now go to two loquacious liberals comparing their ethical acumen.
Now, I don't know about you, but when I see a poor, unfortunate soul out there on the street, homeless, a lot of people just ignore them completely, but I'm not like that. I'm different. So I give them the same courtesy I give everyone, a quick acknowledgement.
Oh, yeah, the civil inattention?
A little civil inattention. And, a lot of people don't do that, but I choose to. I think the world would be a better place if everybody did.
It's just being a decent human being, like you can't give a glassy-eyed stare, pretend you don't see them or whatever. It's like you briefly make eye contact, then look away, and you might say something like, oh, hey, or sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. The bare minimum.
Yeah.
It should be the bare minimum, but isn't.
Unfortunately not, no.
Not in today's society.
In today's society, it's doing your part.
I just don't get it, Civil inattention for all I just think it's proper.
Yeah, I always try to give people their space, respect their privacy, acknowledge that they're there, from all walks of life. And across racial and ethnic barriers as well. One would hope that would go without saying, but unfortunately not in this society.
Absolutely, yeah. Who cares what color of skin someone has?
Yeah, I look at it and then I look away.
Yeah,
I don't have any curiosity about it or intent.
No. And I think that's what people need most.
To be left alone.
To be left alone, yeah. That's what I offer to everyone alike. Rich, poor, homeless, destitute, beautiful, ugly, tall, short, straight, gay, black, white. I don't care. It's all the same.
That's really big of you. That's really ethical of you. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I sort of see myself in it because I'm very much the same way in bringing ethics to even everyday interactions. I mean, even if you're purple, I give you civil inattention.
I think that's why we're friends. We're two highly ethical, liberal.
Both loquacious.
We just want the best for people. Yeah, loquacious. Absolutely. We really are great. We're really great people, you and I.
Yeah, I feel like the way that we have this intricate dance of like elevator gaze privacy and like the appropriate amount to talk to each other that people are embedded with through experience, we should have more of an intuitive language that's like explicit and known for like how to choose when and how to talk to each other. I feel like we're capable of knowing that kind of language, that kind of like meta social language as a species. Mm-hmm. And that I could, like, we're thinking about Utopia. I think one thing that we may be able to unlock and achieve is a way of relating to each other socially that leaves the room for curiosity and intent while maintaining privacy in a way that is reliable and reasonably rules-based, the way that the elevator interactions are.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's interesting. Like, some of my favorite people that I've ever known have been people who more regularly just sort of talk to people anyway in public, or like be the person who will say the thing, or just like make small talk with, like, I don't know. There's something like really energetic being around people like that.
Yeah, it's true.
And yeah, I've always liked it. And I do think sometimes, like, yeah, if it would be better if there was more of a encouragement for people to be like that. Because I feel like you get a lot of the opposite. You get a lot of the enforcement of the, like, parents being to kids. Like kids do this all the time, obviously. They don't have the social awareness as much yet. But yeah, I just constantly see parents like apologizing for and like holding back kids and like preventing them from talking to people or being like sorry, like with the dog, I think you mentioned. someone saying sorry or something. I associate that with dog owners a lot, where they're probably just like have had people be annoyed by them, but I'm like, it's fine. I had to step around the dog. It's normal. They're dogs.
Yeah. You just increased my daily dose of dogs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or like the
net
kid, I had to
positive.
step around the kid. It's normal. They're like dogs. They're just floating around.
Yeah. With my kid going in the elevator, usually to a grocery store, this would be the context. I'm in an elevator with my toddler. She'll frequently smile at people or like laugh cutely, trying to get their attention, and or she'll be like, "That's my dad," or something that's on her mind. Like I saw an orange fish at the aquarium, and it spurs you into more interactions like that with people, but they're all like mediated around the cuteness of a toddler.
Right.
And then if I'm feeling like low energy too, it's like I'll interact with her and not the person. Like I won't be unfriendly to the person. I might smile at them and stuff.
Yeah.
But
no,
I'll be
totally.
like, oh yeah, that's interesting. That's a good point. Like act like it's just her and me.
Yeah. I never thought about it in those terms before, that's what they're doing, but it's definitely real. Like the kid is broaching the divide, but the parent is not.
And the parents like using the kid as like the intermediary between the inside and outside worlds, which they're not objecting to. They're not hostile.
Yeah.
But it's also like an excuse to interact with them less too, because there's like I'm just thinking this out loud for the first time, but it's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking, and I want to refute myself. Earlier, I was talking about this kind of like utopia of perfected social interaction rules. And I think that's just, I don't know where that was coming from in me. That's like some weird anxious thought of like, it sounds like a nightmare.
What?
A utopian structure of like social cues that are universally understood to like avoid unpleasant interactions. I think utopia should have unpleasant interactions.
Oh, right.
And there's something
right.
so, like what your point afterwards was making it sit what was really wrong about that idea. I think I should just be, we're not going to edit it out. I'm going to admit my mistake. I was brainstorming. I got carried away in the wrong direction from an anxious place or something. So something inside me was trying to control the world in a twisted way in that thought experiment. And I just want to condemn it and say that it was a wrong-headed thought, because the context of like this ambient non-relation relations that hold together the anonymity of packed cities, that is broken through by people who find it in themselves to like interact with people in a way that ideally like brightens their day and is a positive interaction to public space. I think that context is more desirable than
right, like having the thing to be broken through is part of what makes it thrilling or beautiful or whatever.
Yeah, and like systematizing what makes a breakthrough good or not, I feel like is taking some vibrant nature of life away in order to systematize it like a Nazi scientist. I just object to that.
Yeah, I think these kind of social mores too, they're hard to blueprint out. Oh, if we can just make it so that every social interaction is perfect. They just like, I think this civil inattention thing just kind of emerged from people being in cities and like dealing with the reality of like, okay, I'm not going to talk to every person, and slight acknowledgement, moving on. Like that's just, I think whatever the social interaction sphere of utopias will be like, I'm sure it will contain plenty of unpleasant social interactions.
That's what I'd like to hear.
But what the rules are will emerge from like what's actually happening on the ground, like what people need and how it works out. But yeah, there's like something interesting about that dynamic of, it's kind of like when talking about pirating music versus streaming service music, and both of them technically, just giving you access to all music basically. But like there's something about going around the system and like stealing quote unquote music that you're not supposed to listen to, makes it feel more special than just like, oh yeah, I can stream whatever I want. It's kind of a gray mass. But like, when you snuck it out, then it's like you savor it a little more. You savor those social interactions because someone had to go through the work of breaking through the civil inattention bubble.
Yeah, a lion stood up among the sheep.
Yeah, I don't know. It is weird because it's like,
you want to democratize that. You don't want to be like, oh, well, there's this special class
special
of people
breed of people who
yeah, they break through the banal mediocrity of day-to-day civil inattention and command the room for what's entertaining and also what is right, and they inspire people. And although I think aspiring to be that kind of person, I mean, doing it poorly could be pretty bad, but
I think it's also fine for there to be some people who are more like that and some people who are less like that. That doesn't mean one is better than the other necessarily. Ideally, people who are more like that are also more willing to ask for the input of people who are less like that, like to encourage them to speak to while they're speaking or whatever. Not in a pushy way, but in an encouraging way.
another aspect of the civil inattention thing that I thought of when we were first talking about this is just like, it's kind of like inherently awkward. These rules have this kind of inherent, although we're talking about the positive side of like how it makes people's days and society work to give this basic amount of attention while avoiding prolonged conversations and knowing everyone that you meet in crowded places and stuff. Mm-hmm. But there's also something like an angle of it that's funny, but it's also like interesting, is how sometimes these norms also kind of clash up against reality in a way that people who like don't want to go further than that, or for like you're stuck in the elevator stops with the smiling guy and you're going to be there for like 7 hours. Then yeah, like part of the truth of the we should talk to our neighbors more and stuff is that the skills of like conviviality and like neighborliness need to be like cultivated and developed in people. I think like a lot of people who feel awkward around strangers, they wish that they had more tools to like make it smoother, and like,
yeah,
maybe they prefer to keep the time for themselves ultimately and they'll be dragged into it, or maybe people really are open to having longer conversations and stuff, but like it feels like beyond this impossible barrier, which is like on top of all the things that relate to regular interacting, you've also got this like extra layer of not knowing who you're talking to. And so there's all these gambles and bets if you're overthinking all the different scenarios and stuff.
Yeah, like what should or shouldn't I talk about? I don't want to say something controversial, or just like, yeah, or like then you're just doing small talk, and some people really hate small talk I don't know. This is kind of like when you were talking about the utopian thing. I think the thing I said after was like, it might be good to encourage people to be a little more like this, because I see a lot of parents holding kids, but like a lot of training people in not interacting in public spaces. And it might be beneficial to have a little bit more ability, like you putting it in terms of people wishing they had those skills, I think is true. I think it would help smooth over some of those situations where like a little bit more interaction becomes necessary, or it becomes weird that you're not interacting. It's like, yeah, it's a little prolonged. You're stuck in the elevator. It's not even like a smiling person. You're just two normal civil inattention people. And then you're like, it's getting weirder and weirder that we're not saying anything to each other. We're just in some situation longer than either of us expected, and kind of weird. Yeah, like maybe we need to do some rehearsals for people, or you just like put people on a fake bus and you have to sit beside someone else and they start a conversation with them, and like it's also awkward, and you just give people the tools. We'd be doing this in school.
Yeah, it's like when people complain about not learning how to do their taxes in school or whatever.
Yeah, like, not learning.
They never taught me how to do something that transcends small talk in a way that's comfortable for everyone in schools. I'm going to have almost no connection to my neighbors when I'm older.
But yeah, how to start basic, quick conversations in public, gauge interest. Because sometimes, if you're on the bus, like you're not rushing past someone. You might both be there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If it's a long bus route, you could have a great convo. Not that you should have to, but, it's an opportunity.
Studies do show that having positive, short interactions with people in your day is one of like the biggest predictors of overall happiness. So like, it's kind of interesting because like, it's almost a level of social engineering inherently that feels like uncomfortable to be like, in our utopia, we're going to encourage people to talk to each other in a friendly way.
Yeah. That's more like skills, we're just teaching you the skill. You decide whether to use it or not, but it should be a tool in your tool belt that you're like, oh yeah, I could talk to someone. Like it wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah, actually, there's a reframe for it that feels a lot more liberatory to me, but it's definitely like just a bias against rules. It's not about teaching people these delicate social rules. It's about teaching people how to tastefully break the ambient rules of civil inattention and like awkwardness. How to it's like
Test the boundary, push past a little bit, and if you're not getting well received, if someone doesn't like your smile after 2 or 3 seconds, you should probably stop, not keep going for like a full elevator ride.
the goal of these lessons is to make everyone comfortable with making eye contact and smiling for entire elevator rides as the social norm.
Yeah, no, I don't know. That's
It might be good for the health of society to have more people take the stairs by putting some sort of social convention on elevators
where you have to smile.
It's like just slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah, but then the smiling rights activists are going to be coming for our stairwells too, and soon you'll have to stop and chat on the stairs while smiling at people, and who knows where it'll end.
That was interesting. The saying sorry in the stairs. I definitely like. I don't live in a. You live in a single stair apartment with no elevator.
Yeah.
So you have to walk by people on your stairs. Like I walk by people on the stairs here more frequently than anywhere else because most buildings have an elevator and 2 stairwells.
Right. It's pretty rare that you would pass someone on the stairwell.
Yeah, but it's true. People do say sorry here. You don't think of it literally. I don't think I say sorry back. Maybe this is like I think I say like it's okay.
No, I think I've said it's okay too. It's weird. It's like who said it first, or if sometimes it's both sorry, sometimes it's if someone like jumped a little, you might be the more sorry one, or if you have like a bike or something big, then it's more like that's more of a one sentence interaction thing. It's like, oh, you like stand in the corner off while they walk past you and they're like, ah, yeah, I got my bike, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's a context I would say sorry. If I was carrying something big.
Yeah. And you're like, I hope my greasy wheel doesn't bump your clothes as I pass them. Yeah. But yeah, I think teaching skills and letting people decide things better than, having an enforced utopia of rules. Although we were riffing on the idea of maybe in the utopia, you just have different sections of a city or different cities for different types of rules. So if you really love the idea that you're going to have a full conversation with everyone you pass, you just go to the city where that's the law.
The law, too. It's not just a convention.
No, it's the law. It's the rule. You're tossed out of the city if you don't. No, or yeah, it's just the convention or whatever. But yeah, no, I think that's a weirdly rigid cartoon idea, not an actual. You might have cities where it like skews one direction more than the other, but
yeah, you could see an organic development of different cultures.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's possible now to get cultures that are that. We live in a more global world with travel and information and stuff. But yeah, still like definitely like unique cultures can exist. But I was just imagining a really strong like Star Trek level total social convention in one area of the planet with one culture and a totally different, like that seems a possible organic development of human cultural diversity. But then I second guessed it when I started thinking about like international travel, and there's kind of like a homogenizing of cultures happening to a certain degree in the global information communications technology
world. It's hard to know how much is communication, how much is like global. A lot of the culture homogenization stuff you see is like, oh, there's a McDonald's in every city, like it all looks the same. But yeah, I think it's combinations of both, like global international brands and just information communication technology. Yeah, I think you'd have more of a shared baseline globally, but there would still be regional differences.
Okay, is this civil inattention, or how does this compare to civil inattention? I was recently at a carnival, and these 2 younger women started fighting with each other. I was like with my toddler and stuff, and these 2 younger women, they're like pulling each other's hair, they're like slapping each other, they're like falling to the ground. And one of the first things I did was kind of like turn away and stop watching and like not be an audience of it. And then I kind of peeked back after when it kept going.
Had a peek.
Yeah. Then I was like, well, all right. Well, if it's not ending, I'm not going to miss the whole thing. I think it was their first fight just based on their tactics. But But yeah, like I didn't want to be a party to it by looking at it. I was also maybe a little bit embarrassed for them. Like they look so undignified.
Right.
And
Yeah, when people get in fights, you do see a lot of like navigating that of like, when do we ignore it? When does someone need to step in? Yeah, I don't know, like someone being loud on the bus or like starting an argument with someone else, then you see people nearby start to like maybe glance at each other a little bit. And it's like, yeah, when is it okay to just like watch? Because after a while, like people just start openly like paying attention. But at the start, you'd be like, okay, just keep not paying attention.
there's definitely a feeling of awkwardness there that's similar to navigating some civil inattention scenarios. Yeah, not paying attention is also about giving them privacy in a way. It is inattention and it does come from a place of civility, but it's not civil inattention that we've been talking about. It feels distinct.
Yeah, like something's breaking through the sort of bubble of civil inattention that exists, and then other people are still maintaining it to some degree, but it's a new situation. It's not the same thing. It's like navigating that space that was created by not everybody playing by the rules that you expected. Like, do I keep doing this thing? Do I mostly just ignore it still? Or do I...
Yeah, maybe it's also for other people too. Like when you're in a big group setting, the way that you're like regulating my attention in direction to a conflict that has nothing to do with me, that I don't understand, that's too far away to intervene with, is like unconsciously trying to pacify the crowd into, continuing business as usual or something. But yeah, really, I thought their form was really bad when they were fighting. Like I thought they were not good fighters. I wasn't like a big scrapper growing up, but I start from childhood. Like I have my fair share of like genuine fights. But yeah, I feel like when people are really bad fighters, like they're really inexperienced fighters, you should let them fight for a while to like build up their EXP and like, because if they're ever in a serious fight in the future, they'll be glad to have those extra minutes under their belt.
Right.
So yeah, I think if two people are fighting in public and neither of them are very good at it, you should allow it to continue. But if one or both are really good at it, you should intervene. This is my street ethics that I just invented.
Yeah, you do less damage, but not being good at it.
Yeah, and if they're a good fighter too, it's like you don't want them to get any more EXP. That is dangerous
right.
to the community. You're leveled up enough, sir. Hello and welcome back to News 111112. I'm your host, Bam Bam Wazoo, with Wazoo's Afternoon Rumble. Now, the big thing that's in the news right now, we're following closely. The Utopian High Council has decided to go ahead, without talking to anyone first, and implement a total abolition of civil inattention. They say it's going to help with the loneliness crisis, declining birth rates, and that it's going to recenter, they say, the good things in life again. Here's a clip from their press conference earlier. We just think, wouldn't it be nice if people took the time to talk to their neighbors again, to look in the smiling eyes of a child and wish them well in their life ahead. We can be together again without civil inattention. The move's being wildly panned by critics, saying that it is slowing down their daily walks and that amount of curiosity and intent on a day-to-day basis is impairing their life. Let's go to the lines. And we're 2 weeks into this pilot program. I've got Ken. What's on your mind?
It's a war zone out there, Bam Bam. Every time I leave my house, there's conversations happening all the time, and I have to talk to them, and I don't know what to say, and then I don't go out anymore. I only go out at night, because there's nobody outside at night, and I don't have to talk to anyone then. But then, even then, sometimes there are people, and then you have to talk to them, and it's a lot, so I just try to stay inside.
No, that's exactly right. That's what we're hearing from a lot of people. Thank you.
But then they start sending universal basic friends around, and they start asking me to go out on walks, and they say, hey, let's go for a
Thank
walk,
you, Ken.
and we have to talk to people.
Yeah, that's enough, Ken.
I'm having a really hard time with it.
Could this well-meaning program to decrease loneliness actually incentivize people to stay home and avoid the social interactions they would have otherwise had?
Hey, Bam Bam. Sorry, I'm just restocking the fridge in here in the studio. I just wanted to say hey while I was doing that. I didn't want to ignore you. That'd be kind of rude, obviously. And
yeah,
illegal,
thanks for restocking the fridge. You've been doing a great job. How's the family?
Yeah. Oh, family's great. How are you liking this weather we've been having?
Oh, it's good. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a little bit of rain.
Yeah, no, me
Um,
too. It's just cool things off, smells nice.
yeah, that smell is amazing. It was so great to talk to
Oh,
you.
yeah, you
Thanks
too.
again
It's
for
great.
restocking the fridge. We
Thank
need to
you,
keep
and thank
that.
you for what you do. You make this show happen.
Oh, you're too kind. Couldn't do without the great staff like yourself.
Thank you. Yeah.
So next caller on line 2, Janice. Janice, you're on the line.
Hi, Bam Bam. Yeah, I just want to say I'm just loving this lack of civil inattention thing. It is just amazing. So, like, a little bit, like, I was a cat lady for the longest time. I have, like, so many cats. I almost never talked to anyone. And I was lonely. And now it's like I know all my neighbors, and I know about, like, down the hall, Gail has her twins, and they're rascals, and Austin and Devin, they've got a band, and they actually gave me their CD. We were talking. I've listened to it. It's pretty good. It comes from, like, my neighbor. It's so cool. I had this great conversation today. We were just walking by each other. We were both on the way to run errands. And we talked for like 30, 40 minutes about the international political situation. And he actually recommended this used clothing store to me. And I went there and it was amazing. And like, yeah, I'm just not, I was a cat lady and now I'm a human lady. And I'm not lonely. I'm just nourished. I'm socially nourished in this way that is indescribable. This thirst was so unquenchable, I didn't even recognize it as something that could be quenched. And now that it's quenched, I'm just so absolutely quenched.
Yeah, thanks for that. That's another perspective for sure. Now, a lot of people who say that they're not feeling lonely are just trying to cover up for the fact they still feel lonely. They feel compelled to lie to themselves and others about it. But next up, for an in-studio debate, I'm joined with a representative of the Tired Exceptions Network. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
He's going to be debating someone from the Take the Plunge, We're Not Lonely Anymore coalition. Thank you for being here. Yeah, thank you.
Look, my side, we're not radicals. We're not saying go back to the old system entirely. We're saying sometimes people are tired and sometimes they're very, very busy, and there should be exceptions for that. There should be a way to sometimes skip past these conversations if you need to.
Yeah, I just think that's a slippery slope. I mean, where does it end? At the Take the Plunge, We're Not Lonely Anymore coalition survey that we did this year, we found that people who decided to embrace this new civil attention regime reported higher quality of life satisfaction. They reported overwhelming support for it. It's the people who resisted, that pesky 44%, the holdouts. Now, they're the ones expressing discomfort.
Yeah, look,
they're the ones saying that it's not working for them. We're saying take the plunge. Get to know your neighbors. Open up your heart.
First of all, those statistics are misleading because the people who embraced it are probably just the people who already wanted something like that to exist in the first place. That doesn't mean that the other people can just decide to embrace it. That's not how this works. And look, to people's concerns about people faking being tired and faking being busy, that's
a huge
not,
problem.
I think we need to trust each other more. I think people aren't going to claim that they're busy when they're not.
How do you get to know and trust someone? You have a 10 or 15-minute conversation on the street corner where you get to know aspects. You have some curiosity about each other. You set an intent together of, well, I'll talk to you again sometime, or yeah,
some
maybe
people
we
want
should
to get things done. I want to do 3 or 4 things. It's like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store. That's going to be my entire day now. Because
there's going to be some great conversations in there.
And think of the systemic benefits that it grants to people who live near grocery stores. They have far fewer people they have to walk past. It means they can get more done.
Really, that's sad for them. They're having less conversations. I
Yeah,
mean, we should be
exactly.
trying to work against that. You want to put an exception for tiredness and busyness.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
these
2
are
simple exceptions.
These are some of the most subjective terms in the world. I mean,
Not
who can
really.
enforce? This is unenforceable. What it does is just creates a galaxy-sized loophole for anyone who wants to not know their neighbors, not be convivial, not share public space in a dynamic way. Like, it gives them an out. It creates a space for that where you're going to have toxicity grow. You're going to have people's
Look, the
isolation
alternative
grow.
is that you could have had 3 hours of sleep last night. Maybe you regularly suffer from insomnia. Maybe a loud neighbor was keeping you up.
Well, talk to someone about on the street about it. It will help cheer you up. Commiserate
It'll
with,
just make
with
it
someone that you've
worse.
just met and won't meet again.
You have so little energy, then you have to give the little energy you have to the first stranger you meet. You can't use your own energy in the way that you see please.
Energy theory
There's no
has-
bodily autonomy anymore.
Energy theory has been debunked. debunked, okay?
Oh, energy theory has been debunked. No, that's true. It doesn't take energy to do things. Physics is a lie. Our bodies don't run on a certain amount of calories per day. No, it's been debunked,
I
apparently.
just want the listeners to know that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that energy theory has been debunked. There's no such thing as a social battery. It's a construct.
Yeah, it's a construct of real things. Decision-making fatigue is a real thing.
We need decision abundance. It's like a muscle. The more you flex decisions, the easier it is to make more decisions more frequently.
Yeah, but if you are legally obligated to be pumping iron everywhere you go, then muscles need to relax too. It's like a gym schedule has days off.
It's there's sleep. People still get private time.
Look, I'm just saying, if you're tired, if you're busy, people will say, oh, I'm too tired right now. Or you can just have like a badge you could put up, indicates that you're legally allowed to, because you're tired today.
It's already legal to say, I'm too tired today to have a long conversation, as long as you don't abuse it. I mean, this fear mongering. Now, listen, you're still allowed to do that sometimes. And yes, it's a little legally ambiguous.
People have been prosecuted for doing it twice in a day. But it's like, it's the same day. You're still tired.
I mean, with that much time between, they should have got a pick me up. And this is...
No, you're legally obligated to get a pick-me-up.
Yes, we have responsibilities to other people in a society. I'm sorry, Earth, you know...
I thought this was a utopia. I'm sorry. I thought this was a utopia.
Yeah,
I thought we had bodily autonomy.
We're not some atomized Robinson Crusoe kind of utopia here, you know? This is a collective project. Yes, sometimes you get minor fines for saying that you're tired to two people too far apart in the day in a way that starts to raise questions, and then it's found by a jury of your peers to not be a reasonable amount of tiredness. Like, if you have a better system, I'm all ears.
Yeah. If you head over to our website, we lay out the platform policy. We've got some really great graphic designers designing the badges. And yeah, you just pop that on and no questions asked. You're exempt. That's the system.
Just take the plunge. That's my message today. The holdouts, the people who are avoiding social interactions instead of jumping wholeheartedly with an open mind and an open heart to know all of their neighbors and have their neighbors know them. Well, I just say, take the plunge. You'll be glad you did. The stats show overwhelmingly people are glad they did.
Okay, well, I guess my final note is that I resent that my position was put on trial for this entire discussion, and we didn't have any time to interrogate the so-called end of loneliness, not addressing the obvious crushing loneliness that people can feel while in the midst of an inauthentic conversation.
Lonely guy says what?
So I think some of these people are even lonelier than when they started, but they're in denial about it. And maybe next time we should be debating that.
I mean, you sound lonely to me.
Well, maybe I can just admit it.
Amazing discussion as usual, guys. Really fascinating. I'm a holdout myself. I don't like talking to all these people, so I usually will just drive in my private car. And then once I get to my house, I'll just sit in my driveway in my car with the engine on for AC, and I'll just take some time for myself. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for your calls, and we'll be back next week with more.
Well, thank you all for listening. It's about that time again. Checking the watch. You know, if you're out in public, you can turn back towards those around you. Take your earbuds out. Give them a little
eye contact and a big happy smile.
Ask them about their life, their deepest fears,
or just look right at them and just think about it. You know, it's an interesting thing. You know, the
ponder the beauty of their soul, the beauty of everyone's soul. It's not even a specific.
And the wild happenstance. Fate somehow brought you two together on this bus and this elevator or whatever. Yeah. And they've got their whole story. They've got where they're coming from and where they're going. And this is your opportunity to stare at them, smile, and think about it. As per utopian social convention.
What are you looking at me for? Oh, I'm just appreciating the spark of humanity in all of us that is in you as well. And then, you know, after you strike up a conversation with them, maybe say, hey, there's this great podcast I like. It's called Seriously Wrong.
Like, I was just thinking about this podcast. I was just listening to it. They made some really good points. I think it would really be your cup of tea.
Yeah, I know it's my cup of tea. It would be the cup of tea of you, I believe, based on what I know
and what
from
I've
your
imagined.
eyes.
Yeah, and just your vibe, your clothes, haircut, that sort of stuff. But yeah, I don't know if there's like a singular utopian vision of like the stuff we talked about today of civil inattention and kind of like the cascade of like social conventions around how you treat strangers in public to both give them privacy, but also not pretend that they're not there. Maybe there's slightly better ways to be friendly to each other, but like what we have is not that bad. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of weird and awkward in a funny way if you think about it. Like even the angling, when someone pointed out the angling of the body thing to me, I felt so called out and just so like, yeah, it's weird. It's like, and no one taught me that.
Yeah, well, you learn it through mimicry and being in the same situation as other people, and like it feels like the right thing to do. Partially because you've seen other people do it, partially because also like, you know, what are your other options? You're gonna angle towards them, you know, like rigidly stare forward perfectly.
Yeah, like you're at a urinal or something. Yeah, or just face away from them, like into a wall, and like then turning your back to them is both disrespectful and it's like vulnerable. You don't know what they're doing.
And just turn and face the back, so you're perfectly to their side still, but facing back.
Yeah, or go back to back. Imagine in elevators, people just go back to back in the center, and like everyone pods out in like a circle around the middle, so they don't have to look at each other, but you can sort of feel each other's backs a little bit.
Yeah, you feel like everyone's got each other's backs. That could be the new social norm, the utopian social norm.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you think? I mean, both in this world and in the next society that we co-create together, you know, a commune to communes where everyone's paid according to need under the great library. What social conventions could make things easier and better and more wonderful for you? Feel free to sound off in the comments. But that's, all the time that we have for now. But we'll be back soon with more episodes on more things. And if you just can't help yourself and you need more sweet, seriously wrong cup of tea, well, we have...
There weren't enough sips in this cup of tea. I need more.
Yeah, I need more sips.
I need more sips.
If you need more sips, as many do, as thousands do.
Yeah. It's true. Well, at least 1,000.
Yeah, at any given time. Hop on over to our Patreon. We'll have a link in the description, patreon.com/seriouslywrong. If you donate that sweet $6 a month, you get access to regular bonus episodes and our entire archive back to 2014. You know, years and years of bangers. So you can fill up your workday, your commute, or whatever, however else you podcast, maybe when you go for your daily walk or you put in the background when you're cooking. I don't need to speculate too much. Those are the kind of things I do with podcasts. Maybe you just put it on and you look at the speaker and you just listen intently.
Observing the vibrations of the speaker, feeling it.
At 0.5 speed, so you get time to really take it in. Up to you.
Thanks to everyone who already donates. We rely on it, we appreciate it, and we love you. And we'll see you all next time.
Yeah, support great independent content.
Yeah.
Truly great stuff. But yeah, well, I'll talk to you soon.